Alright, you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Brandon Gorrie, and today we're going to talk about several things that the title's hinting at. We're going to talk about why you clicked on this video first and foremost. What the is your problem? Why are you here? You are not welcome here. Only people who wear Waldo rugby shirts are welcome to this channel. You know what? Just go. Now that I've got that out of my system, okay, let's continue. So today we're going to talk about a couple things. The main things we're going to talk about are Mexico in a photographic sense. We're going to talk about film in a Portra Cinestill 800T sense. And we're going to talk about the equipment we're using, which is a Nikon F5 and a Rokinon 14mm 2.8 manual lens. What a fantastic combination for a video like this. I put it together at like 3 a.m. the night before flying out to Mexico, and I gotta say, I made some good decisions. Every time. So the camera we shot with today, and when I say today, I mean about 2 weeks ago, the camera we shot with is the Nikon F5. Now, I've been moving more towards the f5, mainly because I'm doing more professional shoots and I want a really low margin of error because, frankly, film is expensive and getting it developed is expensive, and those are expensive accidents. And when it was less expensive, they were more happy accidents, and now it's kind of just like... What we used on the Nikon F5 was the Rokinon 14mm 2.8 manual focus lens. Now, this thing is an absolute beauty. It changed the way I thought about shooting and composing, especially coming from a background of shooting 35mm and 50mm on film cameras, because those are going to be your two main focal ranges or focal lengths that you're going to be using. I gotta tell you, using the lens when you're out and about in the street is its own experience entirely. So what is that like? So in the resort, it was one thing in like a more closed space to kind of like take photos of things, but everything was so neat and orderly that it was a little easier to compose the shots, and it was more so just, it was like the trial run, right? But when we got into the city, that was a little bit more interesting. There were a lot of moving parts. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of leading lines that were going different places because, you know, even though it was a semi-touristy nice area, it was still Mexico at the end of the day, and there was still a little bit of chaos in the compositional scene. Normally, when you're using a film camera and you've got a 35mm or a 50mm, and you kind of see your shots, you've got your lines, you've got your framing, you're balancing the frame, the composition, you're like, okay, I think I'm gonna take a pretty decent shot here, especially if you're using black and white where you can leverage your shadows. With the 14mm, you kind of like see something like, you're like, I'm gonna take a photo of that and it's gonna look good. And then you take a photo of that and it doesn't look good. In fact, you look through the viewfinder and you start realizing I'm 15 steps behind where I should be taking this photo. And if you're trying to take a photo of a person, then it's, you know, the second thought dawns on your head and you're like, I don't want to take 15 steps closer to that person. Like, I really don't. So it became interesting trying to frame shots, especially with barrel distortion. You know, I like to take pretty clean shots. If you see my other videos, I kind of like just an orderly nature of things. And when you've got the barrel distortion leading your lines and your composition into the infinity of like banding and vignetting, then you've got like kind of a problem. So it was definitely an experience. It was definitely fun, and it involved a lot of letting go and kind of just like seeing what you can get and keeping it interesting. For anyone who's looking to kind of spice up their photography life, and they're trying to try new things in the darkroom, I would definitely recommend picking up a wide angle. And for my friends out there, for the Nikon people, like, you could use this lens. It's because it's got a D-ring, right? You could use this lens on literally like a Nikon FE, a Nikon F1, F2, FM, FG. Like, you can put it on anything, and that's the beauty of it. You don't have to go out and get a Nikon F5 and feel like you're running your film photography into the ground with this overly engineered brick. Instead, you can keep it nice and quaint with your manual rewind shit and throw that lens on and still feel like you're doing the real thing with your guitar strap out in the wild with your Birkenstocks and shit. So we've got you covered there. This lens was, I got it for $150 on Facebook Marketplace from a guy who had a waterfall in his profile picture. So, you know that this dude was really taking care of that lens and only using it to shoot wildlife from a trail, so I can trust that kind of vibe. Me, on the other hand, not so much. I nearly dropped that thing in the Pacific Ocean several times. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you made it all the way through, if you're listening to me right now, thank you for staying. If you liked the content, if you enjoyed it, go ahead and subscribe. Leave a comment, If you've tried the Rokinon, the 14mm, if you're interested in anything in the video, just, leave a comment. I usually get back pretty quickly. And, man,